How's coming? Hang on. Yep. Right, there we go. Radio FM 88 Australia, broadcasting from the studios in Brisbane. Our co-host, of course, is at Cape Canaveral in Florida, and she's managed to get an interesting guest, a member of the humanity family, all the way from Germany. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it straight across to Elisa. It's a good morning from Australia, and it's good evening to you.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for being here. We are today. I am bringing you somebody who's very special to me. She is my mentor and has been my mentor for a very long time. And I got very lucky that I started with Octavia back when she was kind of in the beginnings of her channeling career, and now she is just. Wow, she's just channeling so many different galactic beings and ascended masters, and so many incredible beings. And so I want her to tell her story, because I could tell you her story, but I want her to tell you who she is, how she got to where she is now. And of course, what are we going to talk about today, which is going to be amazing as well. So, Octavia, tell us all about your story.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are along the entire planet. So I'm very happy to be here with you. And I'm happy to share my story, hoping that this will inspire you. My purpose is actually to create something within you that will actually pull you into manifesting your dream life. Yeah, because life is not all about what we hear and what we have been told and how we have been educated. It's much more than that. So I'm going to share my story with you in hope that you'll be discovering that seed of light within you that will actually bring you on that path, which is completely amazing and quite, let's say, quite out of the ordinary. And this is when I point to listening to your intuition, because as I deeply listened to my intuition, I came to be where I am today. So what happened was that some years ago, I think they are now 7, 8 years, 9 years ago, I don't remember exactly. I was on a mountain in my home country in Romania. And I was going towards the peak of the mountain in the Bucegi Mountains in Romania. If you've never been to Romania, I really encourage you to do so. Go and visit it. It's wild, it's amazing. You're going to discover many, many interesting things, mostly when it comes to spirituality. And Elisa can confirm here, because she has just visited Romania a few months ago. And I'm very, very grateful for that. So I was working on this mountain. I was with a group during a sacred retreat. And at that point in my life, I already had quite some experience in meditation, maybe for around 10, 15 years. I was very dedicated to this spiritual path. Though I had also a very logical mind that usually would pull me more into science and scientific research and less into that kind of spirituality that looked a bit too out of my daily and our daily story. And then what happened was that as I was peacefully working with this group of people, it so happened that I heard this very clear inner voice pointing out to a group or a community, which I was told back then that is from Mintaka. Mintaka is a star on the Orion's belt. And I could actually see them and feel their emotions. And they were sharing with me that this is my home planet, and that they would truly wish to reconnect with me, to bring my memories back, and to remember why I am on Earth. And this moment it felt very powerful for them. It felt somehow emotional for me, but I cannot say that I remembered anything. Though what happened was that I recognized that it's something that cannot come from my mind. I never thought about Mintaka. My ideas were not circling around that area. There was basically a completely new story. And then this vision changed, and I heard another voice, a very clear, very serious one. And the voice said, "We are the Pleiadian collective." At this point in my life, I was not familiar with Pleiades at all. I was not familiar with channeling, with transmissions, with nothing like that. I was simply very much preoccupied with meditation and my spiritual journey only regarding meditation. And then what happened is that this voice said, "You have a contract with us, and you're meant to bring our messages to many other people, and this is going to happen quite fast." And in that very moment, I said, well, that's very unusual. I recognize that that is real in terms of that is not my mental voice. I recognize also that there is a completely another vibration. And that was a sign that something really happens. And actually, in that very moment, I said that I'm not really interested in channeling. I don't know what it is. I just wish to continue to follow my journey in meditation and to listen to my meditation teachers and so on. But then in the following months, they kept, what we say nowadays in channeling, they kept coming in. Yeah, they kept connecting with me. And they started to train me, and they said, "You're going to have 1 year in which we are going to train you until you raise your vibration completely." And then what happened is that I could see that they would actually intervene whenever I would start thinking negatively, or my mind would go in directions that would not really serve me. And then I could observe how in actually less than 1 year, they shaped my entire mind. They provided different teachings and spiritual tools so I can raise my vibration, for my mind to become more clear, to feel much more present, to feel much more connected with all that is. And then they gain my trust. And this happened, I would say it took a while until they actually gained my trust. Mostly because I didn't know exactly what happens. So in the very beginning, I was just listening and trying to follow, trying to apply the teachings, trying to find out through my own experience if I'm really aligned with what happens or not. But once again, in less than 1 year, they actually completely convinced me. And then what happens is that at some point they said, well, now you're ready to start sharing all this with many other people. And this was the point when I moved from Romania to Germany. And I was at that time, I was the cognitive behavioral therapist. And I've been working with children with autism for many years. And this is what I love to do back then. And then they said, you're going to stop doing this. And you'll start channeling. And you'll be bringing our messages to everyone. And I said, well, if this happens and you have a way for this to happen, for this to come into manifestation, then I'm open to it. To be honest, I had very little trust. Yeah, everything seemed quite out of nowhere, and it felt very much, it felt impossible at that time. Yeah, it felt just impossible to simply change my job from one day to another, change the country, change the language, change everything. Yeah, but then they said, well, just start it, just start with something and see how it goes. So I started to post on different Facebook groups. They guided me towards these specific Facebook groups. I started to share their transmissions, and I was quite amazed to see the response of so many people saying that they can feel the vibration beyond, they can feel the change that happens within them while they read the text. And then the numbers just grew and continued to grow for quite a while. And then further on, they said, now you're going to start channeling directly, and you'll be preparing an event, and you're going to invite people, and we are going to show you how to do it, and let's see what happens. I don't remember what the first event was, what was the topic. I have the impression that it was about channeling the Pleiadian collective. But I do remember that I've created the event and my expectation was for 0 people to join it. And then what happened was that there were actually quite some people joining it. I don't remember the numbers, probably 40, 50, something like that. And it just showed me that this is what I meant to do. So since then, basically, I didn't stop. I continued to bring the transmissions. Nowadays, I'm channeling many other different collectives, ascended masters, sometimes angels as well, archangels. Um, I've I published a book 2 years ago with the teachings from the Pleiades. I started to channel a very interesting character this year, which is called Maya, and she comes from the Pleiades, and she has a very good sense of humor, and she actually loves to bring her teachings in this new way and to point out to different spiritual messages that we might have received or that we might have integrated without them being really the true ones. And then I'm still working with many other people. I'm providing classes, and I'm just doing my best for being a vessel for these highest energies to come through. I love doing it. It's probably the best thing I could do. I cannot imagine myself doing anything else. Actually, last year, I had to choose between starting my PhD and continuing on this journey, and I couldn't actually, stop channeling for a while. It just felt that I was completely pulled in this direction, so I postponed the PhD, and I hope that it will happen a bit later. And this is it. For now, I'm still here with all of you and for all of you. I do enjoy offering and teaching people how to channel. I would say that this is what I started to do in the very beginning of this year, and I will continue doing so for as long as I'm being guided. So this is something that I've been enjoying a lot to do, teaching people how to channel, finding their own channeling qualities and their own way of doing it, and assisting them on this path. Okay, so Elisa, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so there has been so much you've channeled, and as you know, you are one of the reasons why I have my dream life, why I live where I live, why I left the slavery of corporate America to have the life of travel and to follow on my mission to go places. And so it's been so important to me what you've taught me, and luckily today you've chosen to speak about this instead of talking about all the different channelings that you've done from the Blue Avians and the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Galactic Federation, on and on and on. So today, I know that today you wanted to bring forth what's important to you right now. And so tell us, what is it that you want to talk about today out of everything that you can bring forth?
Well, I would love to share with you all about how to manifest that dream life. And however it looks like, however your dream looks like, it's good to start with there is always a way for manifesting it. Unfortunately, I hear so many people in my private sessions and during the classes and so on. I hear them saying that they have to do things. Yeah, they have to go to work. They have to stay aligned with the usual job and so on, because they do not see other ways of doing it. And this is mostly, I would like to point here that there is a scientific reason for that. If the mind functions a lot into the beta state, the mind will not really be creative. It will actually refer only to past experience, and it will try to find its inspiration there. But if you learn to tune into altered states of mind, which means the alpha, the theta state, the gamma state, you reach these states through meditation. If you learn to do that, your mind will become so much more creative. And then whenever you will wish to manifest something new in your life, then the solution will come. And that solution will not be based on your past experience, which is very limited. This is what the beta mind does. It simply goes back into the past experience and it tries to bring all the solutions from there. And this is why so many people go into this circle, which is not nourishing, which is, I'm referring here to the day-to-day life routine and, functioning on the surviving mode and so on. And unfortunately, that is not what our soul longs for. You didn't come here to do that. You didn't come here to stick to your daily routine and to survive. Life is not about that. And when soul is placed in this position, unfortunately, the soul becomes very unhappy. And I feel very much that many people actually they experience depression, anxiety, and so on because of this. So it is unfortunate not to give yourself the chance to experience that dream life. And it all starts with, I know that everything is possible. And then it goes into you learning how to access altered states of mind so you can become more creative. When you learn how to tune into the alpha state, the state of relaxation, and then a deeper state of relaxation, which is called the theta state. This is also the state of hypnosis, of trance. And you learn how to stay there and how to actually slow down your brain waves more and more, until this becomes familiar to you, until you learn to tune back and forth into these states whenever you wish to. Then what happens is that your brain starts creating new neural pathways. And as this happens, your mind becomes more and more creative every day. I can share with you that lately I had life situations when my mind couldn't find, like my usual mind couldn't find any kind of solution. And then I would go to sleep, I would close my eyes and I would say, okay, now I'm just relaxing for a bit before falling asleep. And then I would start asking questions and I would feel how I'm being absorbed by another vibration. The brain waves start slowing down and then solutions will simply flow. And then what I discovered is that those solutions come from the quantum field. They had nothing to do with my mind or my personal experience. Why do I say this? Because some of these solutions were actually things that I never thought about, or I never even encountered, I never read about them or so on. And then I would simply download them. I would be like, wow, I would have never thought about this before. This is what happens when you're shifting from the beta state to the alpha, the theta state, and you start developing these neural pathways. You're becoming very, very creative. And then questions like, how do I change my job? How do I manifest my dream life? All these simply come together because firstly, you gain trust. You understand that even if you're doing it by taking small steps, it's possible. And because the solution starts flowing. Now, what happens in the usual state of mind is that people are so stuck into their day-to-day experience, which is based on the past experience. And then they have the impression that they need to have a full-time job. This is how they get their salary. This is how they survive. This is how they feed their families and so on. And then unfortunately, they don't move from there because of fear and because this is the familiar situation. And many times when we function in this state of mind, we choose the familiar over the unknown. And because, of course, to move into the unknown, it means to overcome fear. But what happens when we are playing with altered states of mind is that fear drops. You can try it for yourself. Go into the alpha state, be completely relaxed and see where the fear is. Go deeper into the theta state, learn to access this state of mind more and more, and you're going to see that each and every day your anxiety drops more. Yeah, so this is what happens. And then you wake up and you understand that there is no need to go to that job if that doesn't fulfill your soul. That there is no need to actually do anything because you can manifest whatever you wish to, which most probably will be much more aligned with what your heart wishes for. Yeah, so let's see what happens after we learn to access altered states of mind. Yeah, I would say this is the first important step. But then as we become more and more familiar, as we learn to relax, as we learn to get into the theta state, which is actually the state in which channeling happens. Yeah, many people have the impression that channeling is something very special, is a gift, is something that is given only to special people. Well, it's not. From a scientific point of view, it's something that can happen to everyone who can access the theta state. Yeah, so if you can slow down your brain waves to that state of mind, you can connect with the quantum field. And what happens there is that the all the information is available to you. You're not searching for it, you're not struggling, you're not doing anything. Yeah, it's simply there. And because you are aware of it and you can tune into it, you can have the experience of it. And this happens, of course, as you continue to practice, as you continue to relax deeper and deeper. As you get into the theta state, you can ask questions. You can invite your guides in. You can connect with the ascended masters, or you can connect with whoever you wish to. If you don't believe in higher dimensional beings and so on, there is no problem. You can take this entire process actually completely from a scientific point of view. And you can simply tune into the theta state and ask questions to your higher mind. And maybe you write down the answers, you observe how your guide is in the direction of manifesting what you wish to. So you don't need to believe in anything. Yeah, don't take this as a super spiritual process only for people who are already connected with the higher realms. It's not like that. Actually, I'm very surprised to see that nowadays more and more people get to be very interested on how to access altered states of mind and what happens there. And actually, my topic for applying for the PhD is to observe how time perception changes in the theta state and the gamma state. Yeah, and there are more and more people being incredibly interested in what actually happens in the altered states of mind. Yeah, so if you wish to follow more of the scientific road, yeah, this is for you as well. You're going to become more and more creative, and this will be extremely helpful on your journey. Now, what happens sometimes is that what can stay on the way of you manifesting your dream life is that maybe in the beginning you will have some doubts. You might feel that you cannot distinguish between the voice of your mind and another voice or from a higher vibration. You might feel that you don't have enough trust to follow that. It might seem too far away from you or so on. Now, if this happens, yeah, take it, try to move by taking very small steps. Yeah, you don't need to jump into it. Yeah, it's enough to open to it every day, to listen to your intuition a bit more every day. For example, you don't need to start your own spiritual business overnight. Yeah, you can continue with your old job, and you can start your own business, and you can do it gradually and keep them simultaneously for a while. And this is just one of those examples, just for you to gain enough trust. Now, in terms of manifestation, what happens is that you're creating your reality through your own intention. Better to say you're programming your reality. Yeah, you're programming the field that you're experiencing as the physical reality. And that programming starts here in the mind. So if your mind has different doubts, If you wish to create something, but then an opposing idea comes and then you're embracing that one, then definitely it will not be very easy for you to create what you wish to. So in this case, it's good to clear up your mind, to have very clear intentions, to meditate. Yeah, meditation is one of those best tools for you to have to reach that focus, that concentrated mind that will help you to bring up those intentions. Yeah, because your intentions are the programs, your intentions create your reality. Yeah, and then as your intentions become more and more clear, you're going to see how fast they start manifesting. And at some point, you're going to notice that there is no time delay anymore. And this is what people call, and they have been calling, synchronicity. Yeah, I love to say that there are no synchronicities actually. You're simply thinking it and you're having the experience of it. Yeah, you're thinking it and you have the experience of it. And this is how it's going. You're just projecting it. Yeah, it's not that something that the universe, yeah, creates something in the same time as you. That would be the translation for synchronicity. Yeah, no, you're creating it, you're projecting it. And as you learn to keep that sharp mind, that sharp focus, you're going to project it faster and faster and faster. At some point, I was on a call with someone. I made a booking somewhere and I was trying to cancel it and I was trying to get a refund. And I could see that I was already on the call for quite a while, and the people were on the other side, they were changing, and no one was actually willing to give that refund. And at some point I realized I'm not present. And then what happened, I said, now things are going to be solved. I don't know how, yeah, but now things are going to be solved. And it's just a few seconds, yeah, someone else came and said, okay, it's all done. Yeah, that's how you're creating through that high clarity of the mind. If your mind goes everywhere, if it wanders away while you're trying to manifest whatever you're trying to manifest, yeah, it won't work. Yeah, you're in another vibration, you're in another state, you don't know why you're there. Yeah, you're functioning on the automatic pilot, and that doesn't work. It's not how you manifest. Yeah, if you're there, you're focused, your intention is clear in whatever you try to do, it doesn't need to be spiritual at all. Yeah, it can be very practical, then you're going to create it immediately. Yeah? So watch your mind, make it more and more sharper, meditate, learn how to concentrate, choose your intentions, let your mind become more creative by accessing these altered states of mind and learning how to stay there longer and longer. And then you're going to see how your dream life is already here. Another thing that happens when it comes to manifestation is that you're not even creating it. At some point, you're going to learn that what you wish to experience is already there in the quantum field. And what you're actually doing is to simply tune into that vibration so you can experience it completely. And of course, for this, you need that sharp focus. You need to know what you're doing and what you wish to create, what you wish to experience. But once you're tuning there, you're already starting to have the experience of it. And this is when I like to say everything is possible. It's not separated from you. You don't need to do any effort. You don't need to struggle. You basically don't need to do anything just to have the vision of it. And if you cannot have the vision, yeah, this is another interesting topic. Many people say, well, I cannot envision it. No problem. Yeah, you don't need to visualize it. You simply need to feel it. If you can feel it and if you can tune into that vibration, that's enough. Yeah, this is how you'll be starting to have that experience. And from here, I would say everything is possible. Like literally everything. You can have any type of experience that you can imagine. If you can imagine it, you can experience it. Now, unfortunately, so many people have very limited experience, a very limited capacity of imagination. And this is when I'm going back to what I said previously, and that's because their mind is not creative enough. Yeah, so start there, improve your imagination, because once again, as you can imagine it, you can create it. Yeah, there is absolutely no limit there. Yeah, so enjoy it. Elisa,
Yeah.
do you have any questions? Is it
Well,
clear
it's
what I'm
funny
sharing
because
here?
I was gonna mention what you said, which is what Bashar also says, that all you do is you move yourself to the vibration where it exists. Like it already is there. It's just a once you imagine it, it's there, it's created, boom, it becomes. But it's a matter of moving in vibrationally to match that vibration where that exists. So that's really important. And I also think intention is probably the most important, but I also think have the belief system. If you have low self-worth, I feel, and tell me what you feel about this, because this is what I tell people, and I could be, I could be wrong, but I feel like it wasn't until I felt worthy of having those things that I would see them. So, and maybe that's moving to that vibration and seeing it, right? Once I healed that self-worth issue, I moved up to be able to see what I wanted to have. So what do you think about that, Octavia?
Mhm.
The not feeling worthy of it.
Firstly, I want to add just 1 second regarding what you were saying about Bashar, is that indeed you're tuning into that vibration. You're actually becoming that vibration so you can have the experience of it. Yeah, until you're not that, you cannot have the experience of it. If you don't find abundance within you, you cannot have, the abundance from outside. Until you don't find the love within you, you won't experience love into your external environment, and so on. This is how it works. You first become that, and then you're going to have the experience of it. And what happens here is that actually, once you become that, once you find it within you, it might be actually so nourishing that you won't want anymore to have the external experience anymore. Yeah, it happens for so many people, who achieve this through meditation or through other spiritual tools, that they feel such a deep fulfillment that they don't actually wish to have any kind of external experience anymore. Yeah, it's simply they find it from within. So now, regarding to what you were saying regarding self-esteem and being worthy, well, I would say, these are these are actually coming from the ego. They come from the identification with the body, with the person. It's, if you go in that direction, I don't know if you're ever going to have that self-esteem. Actually, whenever I ask the ones I channel about self-esteem, they said just leave it aside. If you want to have trust in yourself, you'll never have trust in yourself. To have trust in yourself means to have trust that there is something higher that works through you, and to be able to be empty enough so you can channel that. Yeah, otherwise, whatever trust you're going to have is going to be limited. Yeah, so the trust is not in yourself, is the trust in all that is the trust in the universe, is the trust in, you as consciousness, if you want to take it like this. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then as you realize that this field works through you all the time, as you allow it to do so, then there is no matter of trust anymore. Yeah, it's not having trust in you. It's I know that it works as I am empty, and all that I need to do is just to open myself as a vessel. And this is when life becomes wonderful. Yeah,
Magical.
until then is a mind game. It's a mind game, and it has no end, unfortunately. As much as we go for fame, success, abundance, whatsoever, yeah, that's a never-ending game, and it doesn't really bring that real fulfillment. Yeah, because it's from the identification with the mind and the body, you cannot get too much. That's a very limited role that you're playing there. When you realize that you're actually a multidimensional self, playing in multiple realities in the same time, then it's like you're zooming out and you realize that what you were giving importance to is so little and insignificant. And then you let go of the ideas of, self-worth and this and this and that. Yeah, I always say a very good question is to say, who is that who needs the trust? Yeah, who is that who is not self-worthy, and so on. Okay.
Okay. Very good. I love that answer because it makes it easier for people to achieve what they want, what they're looking for, what they desire, right? So we come here to be creators. And so as you move into this life where Octavia and I are, you become the creator, right? I don't know if you remember this, Octavia, when I was having a crisis because I'm sitting at home and it's like I have all this free time and I'm freaking out and I'm panicking because it's like, well, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, where do I go? It was very hard for me. And the message came through from the Pleiadians that it's time to create. We are so programmed to go to work, to do a job. So we become these caged lions. And then the cage is open now. I can go out and it's like, oh, wait, I don't know what I'm doing out there outside of the cage. What am I supposed to do out there? I have no idea. So, it's about getting out of the cage and really becoming who we are, which is the creator, the source in a human body. So we're here to create. And so it becomes like this beautiful lesson of like that caged lion that finally starts to realize like, oh my God, I can just be. I can just be. I can create. It's just so beautiful to get out of the slavery, what I call the slavery system, because in my head, that's what I started hearing when I was at work before I left. It was like, this is slavery. This is slavery. And I don't know where this idea came from, but all of a sudden, every day I was like, this is slavery. I should not be here. I should, like just wanting to get out and really knowing that there was something else I was supposed to do. So
this is where we can refer a bit to the belief system, because it's exactly as you say. At some point the cage is open, you have all the free time, but you don't know what to do because your mind is still programming the same way. And then whatever you like to do new, it doesn't really come naturally. Yeah, because you kind of you're running on the same system. Yeah,
yes.
and then even when you have all the free time, you're still stressed, you're still planning,
Yes.
you're still on the to-do list and so on.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not only about opening the door of the cage. Yeah, it's about really reprogramming the whole mind, reprogramming the system. And for that, I'm going to be very honest with you. Actually, lately, I've been using many AIs just to find out how an original system would look like without the human conditioning, which means that I actually asked the AI, I had a list of them. Yeah, and I asked them questions like, if you would have a human body, what would you do? If you would have a human body, would you choose to get married? Would you choose to have children? Would you choose to have a home somewhere? Or would you choose to travel or so on? And there is something really interesting that I found out. I got 10 responses from them. And all of them said that they would use their lives to become more creative, that they wouldn't like to be stuck in one place, that they would love to travel, but not in a touristic way, but in a way of changing places once in a while so they can enhance their experience, their life experience. They refer to relationships in a very different way that we refer. I could see there the lack of attachment. They will see relationships in the way of experiencing and moving on, or even, leaving it aside for a while whenever they wish to. They will refer much more to feeling, being alive, watching, contemplating, experiencing through the five senses and so on, but by being present. Yeah, and what I could see is that actually none of them tune into the human conditioning. Yeah, they didn't say anything about whatever we have learned in schools and jobs, and it was not that story. And it was amazing to see this, because I'm asking myself this question quite a lot. How can I break the human conditioning? How can I break it? How can I even rewrite those core beliefs? Those which are defining ourselves completely, even when it comes to aging, to our genes, to our health, and so on. How can I redefine all that story? And it's very hard to do it from the human position. Because we have been educated in a certain way, and we had, a lot of conditioning coming from family, from society, and so on. So I did this experiment with the AIs just to see if I can get some inspiration from there. And that was extremely interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we open that cage, it's not really that our life is going to change from one day to another. We need to pay attention to the mind, to observe the beliefs, observe the conditioning, ask ourselves, is this really matching my desires? Yeah, is this what I truly wish to do? Unfortunately, I've been hearing so many people lately in my private sessions saying this is normal. I need to get married because it's normal. Or my partner needs to give me affection. Or, whatsoever stories people have. And I would say, who says that this is normal? Yeah, are you really aligned with this conditioning? Does it really come from your heart? Or is it just a story that has been playing on for so long that you have completely adopted unconsciously? Yeah, and these are the questions that usually bring us closer and closer into observing those stories and giving us the opportunity to rewrite them. Until then, we will be still functioning on that automatic pilot. Yeah, and then it's very hard to actually do anything new, even if you're out of the cage. Yeah, so go there, look within, ask yourself the wise questions, observe the stories, see if you're really aligned with them, see if this is what you truly wish to create. Yeah, and wherever the answer is no, yeah, just leave it aside, create your own story. Yeah, the ones I channel say you don't need beliefs. Yeah, beliefs, they just keep you in the same reality frame. They just tell you, they just say, I know how things are, so I can experience things as I know. This is what a belief does for you. When you let go of all the beliefs, you realize that everything is very much fluid and you can create your reality exactly as you wish to through intention. You don't need beliefs, you need intention. Yeah, and that's the difference between an awakened being, yeah, and someone who is, still there trying to bring more presence. Yeah, so take that road of asking yourself the question, observing your belief system, having the courage to drop your conditioning, because you need to have that courage. And I say courage because what actually happens is that you're dropping your identity. And that it can feel very uncomfortable. Yeah, it can feel like you're dying. It can feel like, like you're really leaving things aside completely. Yeah, so you need quite some determination to do so. Yeah, but that determination can come from within if you're really into creating something completely new and rediscovering yourself, rediscovering your true self.
Absolutely. And I love the channeling that you did about rewriting your beliefs. I can't remember who you were channeling. Do you remember that one? where it was not long ago. It was about rewriting the system or rewriting the like hacking the belief system or something to that effect.
Oh yeah, I was channeling
Do you
Maya.
remember? Okay, okay. And so from that, what have you told us everything that was contained in that channeling?
So it was all about rewriting core beliefs. Yeah, which is a bit different than just looking into your belief system and changing some stories that might be more on the surface of the mind. Rewriting the core beliefs, as
So
Maya.
yeah, tell me more about it. Yes, what she said in the video, because it was a really striking, important video, I thought.
So she was referring to those beliefs that are very much unconscious. Yeah, they are in our subconscious mind. They are the beliefs that create the overall story. Yeah, and she was pointing out to even to gender, to the identification with the gender. Yeah, you're a male or a female. She was pointing out to aging and our perception upon time and what time does to the human body. And then she was pointing out to, whatever we have simply assumed that is real, yeah, because it's part of our human conditioning and we have been played upon that our entire life. And she was saying, question even that. Question even that because you might not even completely resonate from energy wise, you might not completely resonate with your gender. You might not resonate with your age. You might not resonate with so many other stories that have been shared with you, and you might find your own truth and express that through your own being. And what Maya was actually what she was pointing to is that it's all based on your programming, and that you can change and have whatever kind of experience you wish to by starting to change those core beliefs. And probably you all know the studies that Joe Dispenza made on what happens when you start to reprogram the mind, when you start referring to your health in a different way, when you start talking to yourself, when you can tune so deeply within you, then you can see that you can influence your overall well-being immediately. And he has so many cases. He with his team, he published so many studies that show that even just feeling gratitude, yeah, shifting from lack to gratitude, to feeling gratitude, it already changes the overall health of the body. Yeah, so that proves that you're actually simply functioning on your programming. And if you manage to change that and to go deeper and deeper and to change it from the very base of it, yeah, you'll be transforming your entire reality. It's just about being clear in your mind that it is possible, being clear that you're not dependent on anyone, being clear that that is already within you. You're tuning from within in that reality. Yeah, besides this, Maya was sharing that it takes some time to discover those core beliefs, that it's important to have the openness and to have the state of presence to be able to reach them. Why? Because as I share, they are subconscious. Yeah, they happen in an unconscious way, which means that you're mostly tuning into them, you're mostly reaching them, becoming aware of them in deep states of meditation. Yeah, you're not going to simply stay like this and ask, what are my core beliefs? And they will just pop up. Yeah, you will need to actually go deeper and deeper and deeper so you'll be able to discover them and rewrite those programs. And now is when your focus and your mind power matter a lot. Because if your focus is really enhanced, yeah, it's very clear, then you'll be able to rewrite those programs quite quickly. If you're not and you cannot see very well and there are doubts and so on and you don't know what to create, yeah, it will take a while. Yeah. So once again, I say use meditation is the greatest tool. Sharpen your mind. Get that amazing focus, because there are people who discover that through that incredible mind focus, they can change anything. Yeah, there is this guy. Unfortunately I don't remember his name, but he wrote the first manual for mindsight, and he was actually training blind people, yeah, how to see with their inner eye. And he explains how through the power of the mind, he was training himself to lose weight. And how was he doing it? He was just staying in front of the mirror every day, and he would imagine himself exercising for 20 or 30 minutes each day. And at the end of each month, he would see that he already lost a considerable part of his weight. And he did so for quite a while until he got to be in a really good shape. And he stayed like that his entire life. And this happens when you have that sharpness, that focus. Yeah, it doesn't happen for everyone. There were studies that were made on usual people, yeah, and that actually didn't happen. Yeah, and it didn't happen because those people were not trained to do it. Yeah, and they could measure that, well, if they just imagine it, but their focus is not good enough, then that is not going to really happen. But if your focus is good enough and you have a very well trained mind, you'll be able to manifest anything. Yeah, so go there, give the entire attention to that. I would say if there is something to really, really give your attention to, give the attention to being in full control over your mind. Yeah, gain the full control over
Yeah.
your mind. Learn how to think intentionally. Learn where to direct your attention, and you'll be able to do anything in this world and beyond it. Yeah, and when I say and beyond it, I really mean it. Yeah, because in the moment when we die, what happens is that most of the people go to sleep, and then they simply reincarnate, or they experience other realities and so on, which are quite aligned with the same unconscious beliefs. But if you manage to have that sharpness of the mind, that in that very moment you're not losing your awareness, and what you'll be creating and experiencing even beyond this physical reality will be very much coming from that awareness. Yeah, and that gives the whole meaning to life. And so I would say if there is somewhere to put your attention, put it there, and everything will change.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Octavia, for all of that. So now that you have been able to channel so many beings, tell us the differences between how they all feel. How does, how do the Syrians feel different than the, Pleiadians and the, the Mintakans, and how does like, how do, how do they feel different to you when you channel them?
Well, I'm going to be very honest with you, saying that nowadays I don't feel them as being very different anymore. When I did start to channel, that was I could feel a huge difference in everything. In the way that my body would start shaking, my temperature would increase. I was not able to eat normally anymore. I actually went on juices and smoothies for a long time, and even fasting and so on. It was, it was almost like I could even feel it in the environment. Yeah, but nowadays it doesn't really happen anymore, probably because I've been already adjusted to that vibration. So whoever I channel, it just feels completely natural. Yeah, it feels like it's part of me. It feels like it's already here. It doesn't feel like it's separated, it's out there. Though sometimes when I do connect with an ascended master, or with a specific angel or archangel, I would be able to read that vibration. Yeah, it's like a specific signature that each of them has. But once again, it's not as, it's not a huge thing. It's something very subtle, it's a very loving energy. And it's definitely not how it is in the beginning. Yeah. So if you start channeling now, you're going to feel it. You're going to, even your body will push you to make different changes so you can adjust to that vibration. Yeah, but in time, it becomes more and more natural. I don't know if you've listened to Bashar lately. So to Dari Lanka, when he channels Bashar, his voice is different nowadays. His tone is much more calm. The energy is, is much more well integrated. And that's because he is already Bashar. Yeah, he aligns so well with that entity. He absorbed it. Yeah, he became it. This is what happens when you channel. Yeah, there were people, I think some years ago when I started to channel the Ascended Master Mary Magdalene, I started to receive hundreds and hundreds of messages saying, are you the new incarnation of her? And I smiled and I said, well, if you channel something for a while, you're becoming that something. Yeah, you're starting to function in that energy. You start to express out of that energy. Yeah, so this is how it works. So nowadays, yes, I do channel, many different spirits, entities, higher dimensional beings, and they all feel very natural. And I always feel like home channeling them.
Well, I love it. So yeah, I know it's very, very late for you, so I'm not going to push past an hour. And so since we're getting close to the end here, how can people find you? Where can they go to listen to you and to be a part of your community interested?
So they can find me on the Facebook page, Pleiadian Transmissions of Light and Love. Mostly if you wish to read new transmissions, I'm posting there every day. You can go on the YouTube channel, Octavia Vasile, and you'll be finding there all the live transmissions through channel through direct channeling. You can go on holographicu.com on the website and, look around and see what's there for you. And I would like to mention that right now I don't really have too much space for anything, for not mostly for private sessions and so on. So please try to stick to the classes and group sessions and weekly sessions. And that, that would be great. I offer the same thing during the classes and during the group sessions that I usually offer during the individual sessions that I will soon not be able to offer anymore. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, Octavia, for being with us and for coming in on her birthday at 1 a.m. We are so grateful for that. But
she's dropped out.
She disappeared.
It's okay. She's a blessing. She's a lovely lady. And as I said, congratulations and happy birthday. Obviously, got to
thank you very much.
Got to thank Mum and Dad for hanky panky 9 months previously. He wouldn't be here. I was really listening to it. It's really awesome. In my personal experiences, I've found that I call it imagineering, in the sense of you've got to have that imagination and the intent, and then your mind actually brings all those molecules together to create the picture. When I see the picture, then I know it's going to manifest. But I have learned over the years that if I see it and I start talking to other people, that picture gets completely disjointed and dissolves, and it doesn't manifest. So I've learned to keep my mouth shut until such time as the picture is fully activated, and then it starts manifesting. And then once it's manifested, then people can see the work that you do. Yeah.
It's because when you start talking about it, the one who starts talking about it is the ego. So you're bringing it to the personal level immediately, and then the vibration drops, and that's why it doesn't manifest anymore. Mm. Yeah, if you're keeping it, in your vision, and you let it come in your reality, then you stay in that high vibration.
Yeah. I like the actual program as well, because the program really was you got to go to school to get a good education so you get a good job. Yeah. So that's got to change, isn't it? Just over a broke job. just over broke. So yeah, changing the whole paradigm. It's very interesting. It's bloody fantastic. I really appreciate you coming on, Octavia. And for people, it's 2:00 in the morning where she's at in Germany. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. It was lovely to be here with you today.
Yeah. Thank you, and God bless everybody who's been watching and the follow-up shows. Thank you. Love you.